my name is Jorge Villacorta. In this video I want to explain briefly why I consider that the productions in which David S. Sterling has been a producer should be considered as a piece of study, as a subject to be researched if you want to create a David S. Sterling museum. Why would this be? This demands a theoretical explanation, a brief one, because otherwise why someone would dare to demand a David S. Sterling museum? There must be something that motivates this interest. Well, the most simple explanation is that even though it is called art, the mainstream film form is an imposition by the standardized producers, the industrial producers, and the cultural elite in the United States. Other arts like music, like painting, and other artistic activities are interested usually in formal experimentation. This means that you cannot present the same thing every day. You must make changes, you must innovate, you must look for what is new, what expand the boundaries in the craft. For example, if you have a car, why do you need a car with 4 wheels? You can have a car 4 wheels touching the ground and one in the trunk. You can have 7 wheels or 3 wheels or nine wheels. The point is that there is no, definitely there isn't a model, but because industrial movies are made in a standardized ways, in industrial way with industrial organization, they have standards for different aspects of the movie. For example, do they talk, well, when it comes to subject, the subject from a particular artistic perspective is not necessary, but the mainstream movies tell stories because they want you to have a particular viewpoint of reality. Therefore, they are mainly propaganda, because they pay attention to the subject, they develop a story you may or may not believe, but that in principle creates a viewpoint to you. So they are shaping your consciousness. Then it is the contrary of art in the sense that if art is self-expression, you shouldn't care about the limits of what you can express. But tell me, for example, how many movies has been released in the year 2020 about the workers, the industrial workers becoming the owners of the factories? In the United States, I don't remember. I have been, well, I don't know how many mainstream movies deal with this subject. You may think that if there is creative freedom, this subject should be touched because it has been part of history. But no, it's not like that. Why? Because dealing with mainstream movies as industrial product, you have a standardized process and you have a screenplay that can be censored. In fact, the history of the American film industry is that of censorship, and is so and these products are sold as the products that represent freedom. For example, if you have read this book, I'm sorry, it is an Spanish edition of Hollywood Censored. The original title is Hollywood Censored, Morality Codes, Catholics and the Movies. Well, it indicates that the kind of subject I just mentioned shouldn't be mentioned in movies uh, because it was of the interest of the producers, the creation of a particular viewpoint about society. Okay, what else? Have you, probably you have read the book Hollywood and the Culture Elite. Well, I have a PDF copy, just printed that. The book by Peter de Kearney, Hollywood and the Cultural Elite, How the Movies Became American, explains why formal experimentation is not important in America, or why the United States during the Cold War promoted mainstream movies as the American film art instead of those little productions that were truly experimenting with film form. You must know that the State Department, the Central Intelligence Agency, the United States Information Agency, foundations like the Rockefeller Foundation, the Ford Foundation, were interested in promoting particular art forms like abstract expressionism in painting to to a foreign audience. So they would think that there was freedom in the United States. Also because the Soviet Union was using social realism in order to promote its political ideas. But in the United States, the support went to mainstream movies because the cultural elite the people needed needed to lead someone, and the movies were popular. So there was an agreement between the intellectual elite or the cultural elite, the universities, uh, some spaces in the government, and the film producers in order to create this specific model. Okay, when we talk about film form, there are several writers about the subject, several scholars who have developed the subject. One of them, not necessarily the most interesting for our case, but someone who has some specific influence, is David Borwell. Well, this is an Spanish edition of narration in fiction film, and he explains some particular film forms that can be criticized. I should talk about every one of these points in an extensive way to make a case. But let's say that there is a theoretical basis for stating that what is called mainstream movies now, and it is supposed to be considered art, is debatable. Now let's go to the 27 club. Okay, in the initial credits, 8 minutes, in between 8 minutes 16 seconds and 8 minutes 20 seconds, you can see that the movie was produced by David S. Sterling, Tacha Tacosa, Kelly Erin Decker. At the end, there are